Tim again in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's with great pleasure that I introduce and talk to Scott Mollberg. Scott, how are you doing today, buddy?
Good.
And of course, you know we're doing interviews here at the 2021 Wolfhound reunion, and I wanted to take this opportunity. I wanted to get some interviews of the honorary Wolfhounds that we've inducted into our group. And of course, your dad, Eugene Mollberg, I served with in Vietnam and so forth. And I just thought it would be interesting to kind of get your take on some things, not only about your dad, but about the reunions and so forth. So let me start by asking you, where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Baudette, Minnesota.
Okay, and what did you go to high school there in school? Did you stay there most of the time?
Yep. I went to school there. I graduated from there. I did take 1 year and went to Bemidji High School, my junior year in high school, but I did graduate from Lake of the Woods High School.
Did you play any sports in school?
Yeah, when I was younger, I played hockey, played football, baseball.
So you were into sports.
I liked sports. I wasn't very good at it, but I enjoyed it.
You were on the teams, right?
Yep.
So you were good enough to be on the teams.
Anybody that tried out up there.
Only because there wasn't
Small
enough
school.
bodies.
Small school.
No, I know, I get that. So what was life like with having a Vietnam vet for a dad?
Wasn't really talked about too much. You know, Dad was working all the time doing construction. And we took family trips every year, and went and saw, but nothing was ever really talked about too much.
Did you know he was a vet?
Yes, I did.
So you knew he served,
Yeah,
and you knew it was Vietnam,
yeah.
but nobody was saying much.
No, not really.
Okay, and so at what point, how long did you stay at home?
Once I graduated high school, I moved out after I went to college that fall of 1992.
Okay, and then you graduated from college?
Nope. I spent 1 year at Bemidji State, found out it wasn't for me. So then I found a job working over the road doing utility pole inspection.
Oh, okay. So when in your life did you start getting interested in girls and starting having relationships and so forth?
I was always interested in girls. They just weren't interested in me. My first real girlfriend, it was after I dropped out of college.
Okay, and what was she doing at the time?
She lived in Wheaton, Minnesota, working down there, and I had come to Wheaton doing ground utility pole inspection, and that's where I met her.
And so would you guys date?
Oh yeah, we dated for a while, and it was kind of on again, off again, and then on the on again, we ended up having a son together. So
Oh, okay. And what's his name?
Kobe.
And what's he doing these days?
He is 26 years old, and he drives semi.
Is it crazy to say I have a 26-year-old son?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
you look like you're about 26 years old yourself.
I have 4 grandchildren, so none with my son doesn't have any kids, but my wife has a son and daughter, and they each have 2.
That's amazing, actually. What are their names?
My wife's kids,
Yeah.
Jeremy and Jessica.
And then how about the rest of them?
Let's see, there's Hallie and Lakin, are Jessica's 2 girls. Lakin is 7, Hallie is 5, and then Jeremy has a son, Kason, and we just have a brand new 1-month-old Caleb.
My, oh my. So do you have, I mean, do you interact with the kids?
Oh yeah, we all live in the same town.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great.
So
And I meant to ask you, what are you doing for a living these days?
I work for Senex Harbor States, CHS. Started this last October, driving a truck. So So.
Over the road, like?
No, not so much over the road. I'm on the ag side of things, so I haul fertilizer out to
Oh,
the fields.
okay,
and,
yeah.
Drive water truck.
Yep,
and
yep.
Sprayers. We do some grain hauling to different elevators, or I have to go pick up a load of fertilizer and bring it back. So.
Yeah, when, it's interesting because when I got back from Vietnam, I went to college and did a couple of years in Cody, Wyoming, and then moved to Billings. And in order to work my way through college, I drove semi, and it was great. I was a grain hauler.
Yeah.
And out of Billings, we'd go out to all over the state, but I'd go out to the farm and load up and so forth. And that was one of my favorite things of all times, is I would try to time it so that I'd get there around noon.
Yeah.
You know how they feed people at noon on farms?
Mm-hmm.
It is a thing of beauty.
Yep,
I'll
it is.
tell you.
It is.
And they're always so hospitable. I mean, they just want you to come in. You know, they're just, farming people are just great, great people. And so how long have you been doing this?
Since October.
Oh, okay. Now, when, in your recollection, did you actually start figuring or hearing stuff about your dad's service?
I mean, obviously with Dad being involved with the American Legion, the VFW, and he's always been fairly active with that, but color guard and doing stuff like that. So I always knew, but you mean, is it like when I actually started hearing about stories about his service?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'd ask him some questions, but I knew just from my reading about Vietnam and the different books that I've read and stuff, at that point in time, I knew it was treading lightly, because I knew a lot of veterans didn't want to talk about their service because of the way they were treated, and the way they were treated there by the government, and the way they were treated when they came back with the protests and all that. So there was but so I guess I never really started hearing stories until I started asking, and that was probably, that would have been probably 2008,
Okay.
9, 2010, right around about the time when you found Dad, and after he went to his first reunion, which was in Vegas.
Okay. And that was 2000, believe this or not, that was 2006.
Oh, it was 6, okay.
Yeah. Because I just was thinking, you said 8, and I go, no, I know we've got it
Okay.
before that. But
Yeah, because I couldn't remember.
yeah, it was 2006. Now, did you come with him to that reunion?
No.
Okay. When was the first time that you went with your dad to one of our functions?
2012.
Which was a reunion, a fishing trip?
Reunion.
Okay.
In
Now,
Bradford.
this is what's really interesting. When you came to that reunion, you met a whole bunch of guys that
Oh, yeah.
that actually served
Yeah.
with your dad, and they're at the same time in the same unit and everything. What was your thought then? What were you thinking?
At the reunion, I thought it was amazing. I mean, you guys together talking and stuff. There were times that I would walk out of the room because I knew it was getting pretty intense for you guys when you're kind of round tabling some stuff.
Yeah.
And I felt awkward, I guess would be the term to use, because I didn't feel like I should, unless somebody wants to come and actually tell me something, I don't
Okay.
try. So, and there was plenty of other people to talk to outside, with,
Yes.
getting to meet Scott Brockway, at that reunion.
Pretty amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, Scott, when I found him just before the first reunion in Washington DC, and of course, he just, all he wanted to know is if he could find someone that knew his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even have any conception
Yeah.
about what our reunions were about or whatever. And this is what I told him. I said, well, why don't you come to the reunion and you can meet some guys that were friends of your dad's? And that's all I said.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you know, he was blown away
Oh, yeah.
completely, and we adopted him that first reunion, and he stayed with us all those years.
Yeah.
You know, never missed, and you know, him passing away was just such a, it hit us hard. I mean, it hit everybody.
Oh, yes.
You know, in this organization hard, so, but he's always in our thoughts, and I have many fond memories, you know.
Oh, so do I.
And, you know, he used to call me all the time. I mean, I probably talk to him more than I talk to my own kids sometimes, I think,
Yeah.
so. But, so, do you remember the first fishing trip you went on?
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was fun too. And that was, well, it was more because, well, I had gotten to know a lot of you guys anyways, but with Matt Ollenhauer and just being those Minnesota boys out fishing,
Yeah.
out camping, basically, just having a good time sitting around a campfire at nights.
Doc Turner.
Doc. No, actually, Doc was never at a fishing trip I was at. He had went to the one just before, because I was never at Back of the Moon.
Okay, yeah, Doc was there at Back of the Moon, yeah.
But he was never at Wildwood.
Interesting. I guess you're right. I,
And I was only at Wildwood.
yeah, yeah, okay. So, of course, by that time, now you're really getting to know the guys, and,
Oh, yeah.
and now, I mean, you being around them talking about Vietnam was nothing. I mean, now
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
one of us. And what was your thought when we made you an honorary Wolfhound?
I was blown away, basically. I didn't expect it. Tell you the truth, didn't think I deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I never served, and I was never in the military. So being brought in as part of the family
Yes,
was enough for me,
yep,
you know. Being able to talk to you guys and visit with you guys and keep in touch and everything
You
was
bet.
enough for me. I didn't need, the recognition.
yeah. Well, you know how we are, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we take care of our guys.
Yep.
And that's how we feel about you.
Yeah.
You know, you're one of us, and that, as long as we're around, you're
Yeah.
gonna be it.
Yeah.
What did you think of my kid,
Which one?
Tim?
Very loud, boisterous. Of course, once I started talking to him, finding out he was a preacher and everything, it was just expected.
Yeah. And, you know, can't thank him enough for what he's done at the
No,
reunions.
it's the work he does with all the setting up and all the, of course, I'm not tech savvy at all, so I mean, if I know how to take a screenshot on my phone, I'm
Yeah, but you know what? You are great at unloading trailers and bringing the gear.
Well, yeah.
And boy, tell me about it. We need that, all the help we can get on that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
We've always appreciated you so much. And, what do you see as the future for your dad?
I hope he retires.
He's still working. No,
He's
your
still
dad's
working.
still working.
Yeah,
And what's he, 73?
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, he's 73.
Yep.
And so what do you think? You think he'll one day retire? Or?
He's slowing down a little bit. They don't do as much work. He owns his own construction company, so like him and another guy own a construction company. He takes a little more time, spending time with grandkids and
That's good.
traveling and stuff like that. He's always going to be doing something.
Oh, we're all like that, I think. I don't think we can ever.
His big thing right now is he's working on some of our land up in northern Minnesota and building a hunting cabin.
Oh, oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah, when I was up there, he had some guys come in with big backhoes and dig out an area where it's going to fill up with water. So we got a little pond. and
Oh,
stuff.
that's wonderful.
He said on the way down here, he said, hopefully it's next summer he's shooting for building cabins.
Oh, that's neat, yeah. Well, your dad's a unique guy, and I know that you know this without me saying it. He was a great soldier.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your dad was, he was one of the best. And, God, I'm just so thankful, you know, he and I survived,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so that we could have kids like you and really, I mean, you know, our whole legacy is in you guys.
Yeah.
You know, in our future and so
Yeah.
forth. And, you know, when I asked you about what his future is, you know, we're getting to the age right now where we're probably in the last quarter of our football game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to Gene and I that we know that you guys will carry on.
Yeah.
You know, that you'll somehow or another carry on and that, you know, all of our efforts won't be forgotten.
No.
And now, why am I interviewing the veterans? Well, big reason is I want, number one, I want all of their stories to be told
Yeah.
about their life and their service, but I want to preserve them so that the kids, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, generations,
Yeah.
you know, to come will have an opportunity to actually see their granddad in
Yeah.
living color, talking, you know. And, of course, in my generation, our grandfathers, almost all of them served, but a lot of them got killed. A lot of them died of diseases when they came home. I never met my grandfather. And as I got out of the service and I got older, I actually thought, God, I'd give anything to talk to my grandfather about his service in World War I.
Yep.
You know, and he was the sergeant in charge of a battery of artillery.
Okay.
And one day I'm sitting at home and I get this big manila envelope and it's got all of his Army stuff in it. A cousin of mine back in Illinois had, you know, somebody just passed it down and she said, well, I knew you'd been in the Army, so I thought I didn't know who else to send it to.
Yep.
And as I'm going through the yearbook that they had, you know, and I saw his picture, and they had guys write comments. And all the comments about my grandfather is what a great leader he was and how his number one thing was protecting his men and keeping them safe. I mean,
Yep.
and then his battery, those guys got gassed.
Yep.
You know, the mustard gas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it just ruined their lungs, you know, they came home and no help, no VA. They just, you know, they shook their hand and said, thanks for your service and sent them home.
Right.
And a lot of the guys that were in his unit ended up committing suicide because intolerable. They
Yeah.
just couldn't live.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like 3 and my aunt was 1 and
Okay.
grandma, you know, was stuck raising 2 little girls.
Yeah.
But I want people to know how proud, you know, we finally have an opportunity to be proud of our service.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be under that cloud of, of when we came home and so forth and so on. So I hope the reunions have been meaningful to you.
Oh, extremely meaningful, and it gives me so much more insight. I mean, I've read a lot of history books on Vietnam, but it's nothing compared to hearing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's opened my dad up more, too. I don't think he ever expected me to ask him about the reunions. I think he was a little surprised when I asked him about coming to the reunion. But he didn't really hesitate either in saying, yes, I could.
Yeah.
So now, you know, when I talk to him about stuff and I hear about, you know, I hear different stories about the time when he was over there in 68 and 69. When I ask him a question about something, he's open to tell me.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He'll tell me. Whereas growing up, he didn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't talk about anything.
Yeah.
He was a very quiet man.
Yeah, you bet.
And, I mean, everybody still says he is.
Yeah.
But he has really opened up because of these readings.
Wow. And see, that's the goal. That was
Yeah.
kind of the goal of getting the guys together, and, you know, a lot of healing has
Oh, yeah.
taken place
Definitely.
because of that. Is there anything that you want to have on your interview that you'd like to say to your dad, as far as, about anything? I mean, just anything that you'd like to make sure that is people will be able to see and hear this forever.
Forever. Have to think about that forever.
Well, 100,
No,
let's go for 100 years.
Okay, but yeah, you know, I'm proud of it. I always have been. I might not have always been the best kid. Caused a lot of heartache and problems growing up with my own personal issues. But I'm so glad I asked to come, and I'm so glad that he said yes. To meet the Wolfhounds, to meet all these guys, and you know, there's a lot of guys, and I have a lot of memories from reunions and stuff, and the couple fishing trips I went on. And those guys are gone now, obviously, but just those happy memories and the family that I've made, you know, because my dad said yes.
Yeah.
Allowing me to come to this reunion it's amazing.
Has the reunions been personally good for you?
Oh, yes.
So it's been beneficial for you
Oh, yes.
personally?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It answers a lot of questions, you know? It's, when you get involved with this group and you hear the stories and talk about different things, and they start opening up about what happened and what's going on, it answers questions. Because I might have had questions in the past that, you know, if I would talk to a Vietnam era veteran, basically they'd either just turn away from you and not say anything.
You're just not really answer the question.
Or they say, yeah, I was there, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, not give you the answer.
Yeah, exactly. So, and getting to know all these other guys too is, I mean, I've added so many other families.
No kidding, yeah. No, that's you know what, mission accomplished, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yep.
So I thank you, Scott, not only for being open and honest in this interview, but for coming. And you came back, and you keep coming back, and
Oh, yeah.
and you know, you're our future. And I will tell you, you are a good son, and you're a good son. I know you're a good son because you support your dad and you come
Yep.
with him.
Yep.
You know, so buddy, I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
And you know, we all love you, and
Yep.
and you've always got us,
Oh, yeah.
and we've always got your back. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.